mysterious object of unknown origin that fell from the sky and crashed just near Area 51. And tonight, the public is still in the dark.
Area 51, located in Nevada, has always been the center of different theories, mostly focused on aliens and UFOs. Now, the mysterious government facility is under lockdown after a terrifying UFO crash that happened right beside it. Following the incident, the Air Force, as well as the FBI, have announced that they are investigating tampering at the crash site after the incident took place. What crashed near Area 51? And why are there signs of a government cover-up?
Well, how quickly might the government respond to a crash of an unknown object? What happened back on September 23rd on public land outside the boundary of Area 51 is a textbook example of how crash retrievals work. And to no one's surprise, pretty much everything told to the public since then is pure fiction.
Mysterious crash causes Area 51 to be locked down. The shocking drama started on September 23, 2025. Deep in the desert east of Nevada's remote Groom Lake sector, when a shocking incident sparked urgent activity and heavy secrecy at Area 51. According to the official statement, an unmanned aircraft that's assigned to the 432nd Wing at Creech Air Force Base crashed on public land just outside Area 5's classified perimeter. But for many experts and observers, what happened on that day isn't just an aircraft crashing. Instead, it's a terrifying UFO crash with many signs of government cover-up. Military sources said that the mishap occurred on September 23rd on public land near Highway 375, also known as the Extraterrestrial Highway, not far from Area 51. The crash apparently involved one of the wing's unmanned aerial vehicles, with no injuries or property damage officially reported. But within hours of the incident, local trackers monitoring radio channels picked up chilling audio that said, "We just had an asset go down. We had an asset go down." Then it said, UAV, unmanned aircraft with ordnance. Warnings went out, security forces rapidly sealed the access roads, and a cluster of helicopters, recovery baskets, and portable field amenities appeared in the remote Tikaboo Valley. But it seems like this wasn't a UAV as they want the world to believe, especially since immediately after this, Area 51 shut down. After all, why should Area 51 be shut down for a simple UAV crash? The scale of the lockdown has stunned many veteran watchers of the base. One observer based near Rachel, Nevada, reported the entire valley was shut down by armed patrols. Vehicles were diverted, back roads blocked, and a fresh dirt road leading into the crash zone was carved by heavy machinery. A temporary flight restriction was imposed by the Federal Aviation Administration for a 5 nautical mile area east of Area 51, citing national security reasons. That restriction remained in place for over a week. When independent researchers returned days later to the crash area, they discovered burned Joshua trees, buried metal fragments, and the site had been covered by a thick layer of fresh dirt. In a follow-on site survey on October 3rd, 10 days after the crash, military investigators said they found signs of tampering at the mishap location, including the presence of an inert training bomb body, and an aircraft panel of unknown origin was then placed on the site after the incident. It's like the government has already removed the UFO that crashed there and replaced it with a random aircraft for a cover-up. The complications became even worse when the military confirmed that the alleged tampering triggered an investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation in concert with the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. The tampering referred to debris being placed deliberately at the site after the crash. There was an aircraft panel of unknown origin and a training bomb body. The main problem is that these materials were placed on the crash site after the incident, and it raises questions about what the truth is. Now, officials from Creech Air Force Base are saying that the crash was one of their unmanned craft, but they refused to identify what the model was and release deeper details. The slow release of information, the lockdown of Area 51, and the clear signs of tampering on the crash site all point to an alien cover-up. Government cover-up. Although the official statement is that a drone from the 432nd Wing crashed, many onlookers say that this explanation falls short. A longtime Area 51 researcher characterized the military's version as pure fiction. There are so many anomalies that make it hard for the public to believe that it was simply a drone crash. For one, the fact that Area 51 was suddenly locked down, with armed guards, helicopters, and a buried crash site. This isn't typical for a standard UAV crash. Secondly, researchers discovered debris that had been intentionally planted there, and that proves that the government is trying to mislead the public. These researchers also found out that the shapes and fragments that they found on the crash site didn't match any known drone designs. Some analysts and former defense contractors believe the crashed object may not have been a standard UAV, but a classified or experimental aircraft, maybe even a prototype drone controlled by artificial intelligence, operating in conjunction with advanced fighter jets. Given the historical context of Area 51, which has been shrouded in secrecy, rumor, and speculation for many years, the idea of a cover-up is hardly ever new. The base has for decades been at the heart of global UFO folklore and clandestine aviation programs. If the official narrative is correct, this shows how classified aviation mishaps can become major security events, with airspace restrictions, large-scale recovery operations, and multiple federal agencies investigating. But if the suspicion of cover-up holds any weight, then what we're seeing is a rare glimpse into how deep the secrecy runs. Could it be an alien craft of some kind? It remains yet to be seen. But this crash beside Area 51 has reminded a lot of researchers and observers about the NORAD Varginha incident of 1996. NORAD Varginha incident. The so-called Varginha incident took place in and around Varginha, Brazil, in January 1996, and remains one of the most intriguing UFO crash allegations in recent history. It was officially dismissed by the Brazilian military, but many eyewitness accounts, media reports, and researchers argued that there was a UFO crash, covered by secret military activity and a cover-up. It's just like the terrifying UFO crash that just caused Area 51 to be shut down. It happened on January 13, 1996, when a large unidentified flying object was detected entering Earth's atmosphere over Brazil. The North American Aerospace Defense Command quickly alerted Brazilian authorities to this object. Witnesses in the Varginha region reported seeing a cigar-shaped or submarine-shaped craft, trailing smoke and losing altitude. Then, on January 20th, 3 young women, Lilian and Valkyria Silva, and their friend Katia Andrade Xavier, claimed that they saw a strange creature crouched in a vacant lot in the Jardim Andere neighborhood of Varginha. It was described as a small humanoid with oily brown skin, large red skin, and an ammonia-like odor. But that's not all, as the mystery deepened further. Eyewitnesses say that first responders, including the fire department and military vehicles, moved in quickly, retrieving the being and sealing off large areas. Local military movement was heavy and unusual, with stories that include trucks, convoys, and hospital wards taken over by armed forces. One version of the story says that a military policeman named Marco Cerezi died after being in contact with one of the beings. The government began with their cover-up. An official internal military inquiry, initiated by Brazil's Escola de Sargentos das Armas and an Inquérito Policial Militar, concluded that the incident was probably because of misidentification of a person with mental health problems and that no extraterrestrial crash happened. For many researchers, the Varginha incident has all the makings of a cover-up. Many eyewitnesses saw the large, unidentified craft entering the atmosphere and descending uncontrolled, yet the government never acknowledged it. There were also multiple accounts of creature sightings, but the government claimed they were all misidentifications. The Brazilian government shifted the blame of the Varginha incident to mundane causes like mental illnesses, animal deaths, and weather conditions. But the Varginha of today still remember those incidents, with UFO tourism and water towers shaped like spacecraft. Now, researchers can't help but connect the Varginha crash with the mysterious crash that happened near Area 51, which was followed by a heavy lockdown, alleged tampering at the site, and the investigation of the FBI. Both involve unidentified aerial incidents in remote zones and led to military response, a lot of secrecy, and even tampering of evidence. But both cases carry official explanations that fail to satisfy all the anomalies. It's clear that the Area 51 crash isn't an isolated event, but reflects a recurring pattern. But the main thing is that Area 51 has a longer history of alien sightings and UFOs than Varginha and many other places. Regardless of how many times the government tries to cover things up, there has been video evidence from Area 51 showing a strange aircraft. UFO sighting from Area 51. One of the shocking pieces of evidence that point to a UFO sighting over Area 51 is now circulating on the internet. It shows a massive UFO which quickly goes over the sky, passing by a truck driving through the desert. The UFO moved so fast you could barely make out the shape, but it looked very much like a spaceship or a saucer. This is just one of the many times that a strange sighting has been spotted near the mysterious Area 51. To make things even more interesting, around that time there was another video. It showed a truck traveling through the desert near the base, reportedly carrying an enormous disc-shaped object. According to multiple posts online, the semi-tractor trailer was accompanied by a police or official escort. But it was too suspicious because it looked like a large saucer-like object being covered with a tarp. It led many to speculate whether it was really an extraterrestrial craft being moved covertly. The incident was shared on social media, and many people started to question what it was. The video frames show the truck moving slowly through a sparsely populated stretch of desert highway, with the cargo compartment obscured but still oversized and unusual in shape. The truck seemed to be going to a restricted zone that's around Area 51. When the vehicle was suddenly stopped for questions, the authorities told bystanders a very funny and weird explanation that the truck was carrying a big rock. That explanation alone made many people suspicious. Why would a truck be carrying a massive rock into Area 51 for no reason? And what kind of rock was shaped like a saucer? Even what was peeking out of the tarp looked like metal and not a stone. Besides, what kind of rock will be escorted by police and commercial vehicles? That's when skeptics started to raise many questions and possibilities. It could have been a secret military aircraft transport or part of one, like a prototype or unmanned craft being moved under cover. After checking different transport logistics, they realized that heavy load trucks usually pass through rural routes and are protected by law enforcement. But the disc shape under that tarp easily raises eyebrows. UFO researchers also say that this footage is strong evidence that something extraterrestrial is being transported to or from Area 51. When you combine the remote desert location that's so close to Area 51 that monitoring equipment often captures odd sightings, the large tarp-covered disc, the law enforcement escort, and the big risk explanation, the conclusion for many is the government is quietly moving a crashed or recovered alien craft. After all, You don't escort a civilian big rock with police through restricted desert roads unless something shocking is underway. What exactly was that truck carrying? Was it the UFO that was spotted flying over the desert before? Or was it some military hardware unrelated to aliens? It's hard to believe the latter when you look at the fact that something even stranger was happening in Area 51. Area 51, Janet hidden in plain sight. There's something stranger in Area 51, which is Janet Airlines. It operates like a ghost service, often invisible yet seen daily. It connects a normal-looking terminal in Las Vegas to remote test sites, including the famous Groom Lake runway inside Area 51. Janet's fleet consists of mostly white Boeing 737-600s, with a bold red stripe along the fuselage and no commercial brand, an instant hint that something strange is underway. From a private hangar at Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas, some 80 miles south of the Groom Lake Salt Flat, Janet shuttles defense contractors, military personnel, and other classified program employees into restricted airspace. Flying on Janet isn't like buying a ticket. Passengers hold active top secret or higher clearance. There's no publicly known schedule or fare, and the airline doesn't appear in public booking portals. It seems like a commuter flight, but it's actually a portal into the black budget world. What makes Janet truly fascinating is not just that it exists, but how it operates. It uses the call sign, JANET, with 3-digit flight numbers. It files flight plans, takes off like any airliner, but about 20 minutes north of Las Vegas, when approaching the restricted zones around Area 51 or the Tonopah Test Range. The transponder signals disappear from public trackers, and the plane vanishes from civilian flight watchers' radar. This silent vanish is exactly what one might expect for a service that ferries passengers into locations where secrecy is paramount. The red stripe may be the only outward sign of what is actually a key logistical artery for America's classified aviation and weapons efforts. The origins of Janet stretch back to at least the early 1970s, when aircraft operated under the umbrella of contractors would ferry workers into remote test sites at Groom Lake. The destinations for Janet have become more and more restricted, from Groom Lake to other places like Plant 42, China Lake Weapons Facility, and other Black World campuses. Area 51's reputation for secret aircraft testing, stealth jets, and alien craft is well known. Janet sits at the logistical heart of that story. It's like a commuter conduit into a world that the public only glimpses in myth and speculation. When you see a rocketed sunrise landing of a Janet 737 at Groom Lake, you're seeing everyday logistics of ultra-classified programs. They transport engineers, technicians, and materials that blur the line between aeronautical research and science fiction fantasies. But why all the secrecy? The missions flown, facilities, and all the cargo, both human and material, are deeply classified. Projects at Area 51 include past and present advanced aircraft programs and possibly alien technology that remains hidden from public view. In the public mind, Janet is half-joke, meaning just another non-existent terminal. Half-warning that stands for Joint Air Network for Employee Transportation. The name itself invites conspiracy. UFO watchers, aviation spotters, and desert road photographers have tracked the flights and noticed that there have been many cases of vanished transponders. It's mysteries like these that keep experts focused on Area 51. After Area 51 shut down due to a terrifying UFO crash, the main question for many is what's truly happening in that government facility. Why is Area 51 so strange? And why does everyone think this facility is haunted by aliens and UFO sightings? Why Area 51 is so strange? The remote desert installation known as Area 51 is shrouded in secrecy, linked to vision-defying aircraft and tied to countless reports of UFOs. It's located in southern Nevada on the Groom Lake Salt Flat and was selected in 1955 as a testing site for top-secret reconnaissance aircraft. The name Area 51 came from old Atomic Energy Commission map markings. The site lies near Nevada's extraterrestrial highway due to all the UFO lore. The base's isolation, restricted access, and rapid evolution of experimental planes naturally made it fertile ground for UFO reports. According to the CIA, many of the reported sightings of flying saucers in the area can be traced to early spy planes such as the U-2 and A-12, which flew much higher and faster than anyone expected. For example, a 1959 report described a bright green object descending swiftly towards Earth near Clark County, Nevada. It mirrors some of the first reports linked to Area 41's airspace. Because civilians and even air traffic monitors had no idea what these planes looked like or how they behaved, they often interpreted high-altitude, fast-moving aircraft as something more exotic. There are several factors that combine to make Area 51 especially strange. The base was off maps, heavily guarded, and only photographed under strict restrictions until recently. From the U-2 to the stealth F-117 and beyond, testing at Groom Lake produced visual phenomena that caused many to guess whether there were aliens there. There have also been rumors that the U.S. government examines recovered extraterrestrial aircraft or conducts alien autopsies tied closely to Area 51. For instance, the terrifying UFO crash that caused Area 51 to get shut down, and the strange saucer that was covered with a tarp and transported with a truck. There have been many UFO sightings around Area 51. Witnesses reported seeing a black triangle craft hovering silently above the restricted desert zones. There was also the story of Robert Lazar, who claimed that in 1989 he worked on extraterrestrial technology at a site that's close to Area 51. There have been many stories of underground hangars and alleged reverse engineering of alien crafts, all topics that remain firmly circulated around UFO researchers. There's actually no verified physical evidence that there are aliens or alien technology in Area 51, but all the speculative evidence is obvious. Area 51 remains weird because of what we don't see, as it's a base so secretive that even its runway was invisible to many until declassification. With all the spy planes and covert programs to alien and crashed saucers, Area 51 is still terrifying, and we still don't know what's happening inside. Now that Area 51 has been shut down after a terrifying UFO crash, experts are investigating what truly crashed and why the government is covering it up. What do you think crashed beside Area 51? Let's know your thoughts in the comments. So, thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.